Namaskar. Today I will tell you third part of groundwater and well hydraulics. In the third part, I will tell you about the wells which are partially penetrating. Before we have studied that wells are, this was the assumption that wells are penetrated the entire thickness of the aquifer. So the one assumption is also that the aquifer should be infinite aerial extent. So here we have assumed that our aquifer is infinite in aerial extent, but suppose a well is pumped near an aquifer boundary, then what will happen? How we will analyze the pumping test data of these type of wells? So analysis of the pumping test data which are conducted nearby a boundary, that is permeable boundary or the impermeable boundary, then we will assume the theory of image wells. So during this lecture, the topics which are highlighted here is the well near aquifer boundaries, in which we will study well near a stream, well near other boundaries, location of the aquifer boundaries, multiple well system, partially penetrated well, well losses, specific capacity, and the well efficiency. So why it is necessary? Because in the field what will happen, our aquifer is not in infinite aerial extent, but we have seen that this assumption our aquifer must be infinite in aerial extent. So there is no aquifer boundary in the pumping well, but here situation arises that if we are pumping a well near an aquifer boundary, for example, there are two types of boundary: permeable boundary, impermeable boundary. Permeable boundaries such as rivers, streams, reservoirs, canals, they are visible on the ground surface. But impermeable boundary such as dikes, fault, a ridge, it is difficult to locate these boundaries which are underground. If they are present on the ground surface, we can say that this is the well is pumped near the aquifer boundary, and this aquifer boundary may be a dike or maybe a fault or maybe a, but underground not visible hidden aquifer boundaries, how we will locate them? This is involved the image well theory or imaginary well theory. How it is? Because our assumption is not valid in when the pumping a well near aquifer boundary, then this should be analyzed, which involve the superposition, that is the drawdown of two or more well is the drawdown of sum of the each individual well. So this is done by the well image theory. So first we will study the well near a stream. Suppose a stream figure is given. If you see this figure, a well is pumped near the stream or a river. So you see the pumping water level is intersecting there. This type of situation, we will assume that there is another image recharging well, and the rate of recharge equal to rate of discharge. So real well is discharging at the rate Q, the image recharge well is also recharging at the rate Q. So you see in the figure of building component of the drawdown and building component of the recharge. So there is a cone of depression by the recharge discharge well or pumping well, and cone of impression is created by the recharge well. You can see the figure, it is clear to you. So at the same distance from the stream, in the opposite direction recharge well is placed there. So when you place the recharge well, what will happen? Our finite aquifer will be converted into infinite aquifer. So our assumption is fulfilled here. So we can analyze this type of pumping data here. Because if well is pumped near the stream, how much fraction of pumpage derived from the stream, we can determine this also. So if you see the next figure, this situation is converted into the equivalent hydraulic system by keeping the image recharge well there. So there are different type of geometries of the rivers. You can see that in the figure. There is a unidirectional stream, there is a rectangular stream, there are two parallel stream, and there are U-shaped stream. So for unidirectional stream, you see there is on the right side there is a discharge well, real discharge well. Then opposite side there is a image recharge well. Similarly, in the rectangular side, wells are placed there. So this diagram will tell you how the equivalent hydraulic system is produced by putting the imaginary well. To determine the pumpage from the river which comes during the pumping of the well, stream water is coming in the well, how much stream water is coming in the well, Glover and Barmay, they have given the solution of, they have given the standard diagram here. On the ordinary graph paper, a standard curve is given to you. You can see the figure. In this figure, on y-axis, ratio QS upon Q is plotted. On the x-axis, x upon under root T upon S, capital S is plotted, and there is a straight line. So if you know the distance, what is the x distance here? X upon under root T upon S. So x is the distance between the pumping well and the stream. T is the transmissibility, S is the storativity, and small t is the time since pumping begin. So when you start a well pump the well, if you know these things, a fraction derived from the river, that is QS, S means stream, Q is the rate of discharge, we can determine from this standard curve given by the Glover and Barmay. So this is about the well near the streams. Second is well near the other aquifer boundaries. Other aquifer boundary means, suppose there is a aquifer boundary perpendicular to each other, and between these aquifer boundary, two impermeable boundary, one real discharge well is there. So to balance this discharge, opposite three wells I1, I2 and I3, you see the diagram, they are given to balance the hydraulic equilibrium here. In another diagram you see there is a river, perennial river, that is a recharge boundary, and there is it is perpendicular to the impermeable boundary. Here there is a real discharge well is shown in the figure. So opposite to this there is a I2 image discharging well, and opposite to there are two recharging wells I1 and I3. So three more wells are required for this situation. Previously 3 wells image discharging wells are required. Now another situation is there. If suppose two impermeable boundaries form a angle of 45 degree. Here it was, the angle was the 90 degree. So it is a base shaped aquifer. If base shaped aquifer is there, then how many image wells are there, put there? So number of image wells are calculated by the formula, that is number of image well n equal to 360 degree upon theta minus 1, where theta is the aliquot part of 360 degree. So here if our theta degree means base shaped aquifer is there, they are forming a angle of theta of 45 degree, then 360 divided by 45 minus 1, so n equal to 7, means for this base shaped aquifer 7 image wells are required to convert it into the equivalent hydraulic system. So this is about the well flow near the other boundaries. Third point is that how will you locate these boundary if they are underground? If they are visible, there is no problem of the location. So it is important and it is difficult also, but by the analysis of the pumping test data near this situation, you see, when in the Cooper-Jacob method we have plotted the pumping test data small t versus drawdown on the semi-log paper. Small t is plotted on the log scale and drawdown is plotted on the arithmetic scale. We will get a straight line. So the slope of the straight line, you see, it means if this straight line is continuous, there is no break in the straight line. It means that our aquifer is infinite aerial extent. Suppose there is a break in the slope, means there are two straight lines are there. This indicates the presence of the aquifer boundary underground. Then question arises, how we will locate it, what will be the direction of this aquifer boundary. So if you pump a well near the aquifer boundary, you will get the two straight lines. Points will fall, in the two lines they will come. It means this is the effect of the presence of the aquifer boundary there. So in the first segment, you take a point, that is as a drawdown at any point on the straight line. You determine the time r, small tr. Then for the second same drawdown, you determine the ti. Ti means time for the image well and time for the real well pumping. Then there is formula. So what is this RR? Small rr, this is the distance between the real discharging well and the observation well. So in this situation, 3 observation well is required. RR is distance between the real discharging well and the observation well number 1. From observation well number 2 and from observation well number 3, this is given in the figure. If you see the figure, a circle is drawn and image well is laid on this circle. So this is Ri. From observation well number 2, if you draw arc of the circle, when 3 arcs are intersected at each other, this is the point of the image well. So image well is located. When you connect this image well to the real well, in midway of this line, the aquifer boundary is situated and the direction is that it is perpendicular to this line. So you can demarcate the location of the aquifer boundary and direction of the aquifer boundary by analyzing the pumping test data by the Cooper-Jacob method. So this is about the location of aquifer boundary. So you see here how pumping test data are very helpful. They are not only giving to the aquifer parameter just like transmissibility or the storativity, but from these analysis you can see that well is pumped near the aquifer boundary or well is not pumped near the aquifer boundary, means our aquifer is limited aerial extent or there is a infinite aerial extent. So now I will tell you about the multi-well system. What is multi-well system? Means number of wells are drilled in a line or nearby to another wells. So what will happen if you will pump one well, the water level in the other well is affected. Means drawdown curve of one well is overlapping with the drawdown curve of the other well. So when drawdown curve of two wells are overlapped, it is said that there is an interference in the wells. So this interference should not be there. Interference study is very, very important, because if you pump your well water level is going down of your neighbor well. So you have no right that by pumping your well, you are lowering level of your neighbor well. This will not happen. So actually, the wells should be drilled at the safe distance. What do you mean by the safe distance? Means a well should not interfere. Two wells should not be interfere, means the drawdown curves of both two wells should not be overlap. Now, Central Groundwater Board has given the guidelines, and they have given that safe distance for the wells drilled in the different lithological formations in hard rock areas and unconsolidated areas. But it is in our country, because there is a need of the groundwater. If you see in the city, in every house you will find a tube well. They are not in the safe distance. So sometimes one person pump his well, the water level is lowering of his neighbors, but he is not pumping a well, but his water level his well is lowering. This should not be happen. So in this situation, what will happen in multi-well system? If you want to determine the drawdown, so drawdown of a well is the sum of the drawdown of each individual well. So if you want to determine the total drawdown, that is ST, equal to drawdown of S1 well, S1 plus S2 plus S3 plus Sn, number of wells are there. This is about the multi-well system. The second important is the partially penetrating well. In pumping test which we have studied, there was assumption that well must be penetrated the entire thickness of the aquifer. If it is not penetrating the entire thickness aquifer, we cannot use the Thies formula for the calculation of the aquifer performance, that is capital T and capital S, transmissibility and the storativity. But suppose a pump has not penetrated the entire thickness, what will happen? A well which has penetrated the entire thickness of the aquifer, if you pump this well, drawdown is less in this well. If you pumped a well which is partially penetrated, means the thickness is not, entire thickness is not penetrated. For I am giving the example, if the saturated thickness of aquifer is 100 feet or 50 feet and you are tapping only 25 feet thickness, then this is a partially penetrating well. So in partially penetrating well, there is a diagram. If you observe this diagram, you will see that in fully penetrating well, there is a horizontal flow, but in partially penetrated well, the flow is not horizontal, it is slightly curvilinear. So in partially penetrating well, the drawdown is more than the fully penetrating well. So if this situation comes, how we will determine this drawdown? You see the figure, in this figure, two drawdown curves are there. One is for partial drawdown, another for the fully penetrating well. So there is a total drawdown is SP. So S plus delta S. Delta S is the additional drawdown, and rate of discharge for this partially penetrating well is QP. For fully penetrating well, we use the letter Q only, but here QP. P means partial. So how will determine the partially penetrating well? How we will determine the additional drawdown, that is delta S? So S equal to S plus delta S. Then there are two situations. You see the figure. In situation number 1, our screen is placed from the bottom of the confining layer up to the center. So this is first case. In the second case, the screen pipe is fixed in the center of the well. So these are the partially penetrating well. So if you see the figure, HS is written there. HS means height of the screen. 2 RW, it is a diameter of the well. A small v is the saturated thickness of the aquifer. So, for confined aquifer, two situations are. Situation number 1. So, in this situation, delta S equal to Qp upon 2 pi t 1 minus P upon P ln 1 minus P into Hs upon Rw. Rw is the radius of the well, R2Rw is the diameter of the well. P means penetration fraction. It can be calculated by Hs upon B, means height of the skin divided by the saturated thickness. So, this is formula for number 1 situation for the confined aquifer. In the second situation of the confined aquifer, delta S equal to Qp upon 2 pi t 1 minus P upon P ln 1 minus P Hs upon 2 Rw. What is the ln? Ln is the log to the base E. For unconfined aquifer, we can calculate it. So, delta S 2 Hw equal to Qp upon pi k. K is the hydraulic conductivity, 1 minus P upon P ln 1 minus P into Hs upon Rw. So, here Hw is the thickness of the aquifer. In confined aquifer, B, small b is the letter, is the thickness of the aquifer. So, here Sp square equal to S square plus delta S to Hw. So, this is about the partially penetrating well. Second is the well loss. Well loss is very, very important. You have seen that you are familiar with the drawdown. Now, drawdown is not only include the logarithmic drawdown curve, but also it includes the well losses. Well losses is due to the flow of water through the skin and flow in the well up to the pump intake, and well loss is associated with the turbulent flow, and it is the nth power of the discharge. So, discharge is denoted by Q. So, Q to the power n is the well loss. Now, what is the value for the n? So, Jacob year 1947 suggested value 2, but Roravag, a scientist, in 1953, he has that this value is not 2, there is a deviation from the well 2, and he has told that the value of n cannot be decided. It is differ from well to well, because it depends upon the conditions of the well, clogging of the well skin, deterioration of the skin. So, what is well loss? In well loss, if total drawdown is SW, it can be given by the formula Q upon 2 pi t ln R0 upon Rw plus CQN. C is the constant, and this constant depends upon the radius of the well, construction of the well, and condition of the well. So, SW is the total drawdown, and BQ is the formation loss, CQ is the well loss. It means drawdown, total drawdown includes formation loss and the well loss. So, here well loss is included in the drawdown, you can say total drawdown, well loss is included. Now, how will we calculate the well loss? Well loss, if you see the figure, well loss depends upon the discharge and drawdown is plotted there. So, for the higher discharge, if you see the diagram, there is a substantial fraction of the well loss is there, means for the higher discharge well loss is more than the lower discharge, and if you plot the SW upon Q versus the time, you will get a straight line. So, this is used for the evaluation of the well loss. So, for the evaluation of the well loss, how we will evaluate the well loss? For well loss, a step drawdown test is conducted in a well. First, we will pump a well at the lower rate of discharge until water level is stabilized in the well, means equilibrium condition is reached. Then we will increase the rate Q and we will determine the delta S, how much delta S took place, means additional drawdown took place by increasing the rate of discharge. So similarly, there is an incremental rate of discharge, then after we will reduce the discharge. For examples, we have pumped a well by the 500 cubic meter per hour, then we will pumped 750 cubic per hour, then 1000, 1500, then we will again come 1000, 750 to 500, and all the time we will determine the delta S, that is the additional drawdown. And if you plot this additional drawdown by plotting on the x-axis discharge, on the y-axis SW upon Q, you will get the straight line. So slope of the straight line is the capital C, and intercept to 0 axis you will get the value of B. So you can determine the bell loss by the conducting the step drawdown test. Next important property is the specific capacity of the well. So specific capacity of the well is nothing, it is the discharge upon the drawdown. If you at any point you take the discharge and what is the drawdown, you will get the specific capacity of a well. Now specific capacity well is the measure of the productivity of the well. It means how much well our productive, it will depends upon the specific capacity, and if specific capacity decreases with the Q, capital Q, and small t, time small t, and this there is a figure which shows the relationship is given there. You can see the figure that how the specific capacity is decreases with the Q and the T. So Q and T are small t are related to the specific capacity, and it is also expressed in the meter square per day specific capacity. So there is a Benthal in 1963, he has given a relationship between the specific capacity, transmissivity, and the storativity. On the log paper or double log paper, he has given a standard curve. So you can see the standard curve there, which shows the relationship of the specific capacity, transmissibility, and the storativity. So this is about the specific capacity of the well. What do you mean by well efficiency? So well, just like the specific capacity, well efficiency also expressed in percentage. So well efficiency equal to, it is denoted by EC or EW, W for well, E means E for efficiency, it is 100 into Q upon SW upon Q upon BQ equal to 100 into BQ upon SW. So this formula will give you the efficiency of the well. And if you want to determine the efficiency of well, there is a rule of thumb that if you pump a well and stop the pump, after 1 hour of stopping of the pump, if your well recovery is 90% in 5 minutes, then it is said that our well is inefficiently. So this is about the efficiency of the well. So further in the groundwater hydrology or in the evaluation of the groundwater, the specific capacity, well efficiency, well losses, these are very important. So I have told you about the well flow near aquifer boundary. There are different types of the boundary. What is the multiple well system? What is the interference of the wells? And how partially penetrating wells are behaved. How we can, if you pump a partially penetrating well, how we can calculate the drawdown there for confined aquifer and unconfined aquifer. And specific capacity is important. Better the larger the specific capacity, better the well. And here I have told you that Drawdown depends upon the rate of pumping, that is Q, and the transmissibility of the aquifer. They are directly proportional to the Q and inversely proportional to the transmissibility and the storativity of the aquifer. Thank you very much.